The only thing that matters today is that the Patriots got beat by the Eagles last night. And I don't want to hear any type of injury excuses, man. We had Mark Sanchez in at quarterback for a couple of games. We have Bradford as our starting quarterback. We don't have Jordan Hicks. Our kicker can barely make field goals, and okay, just let me relax. We're going to talk about some rap music. What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're an indie artist looking for an album review and some promo, you can hit up Luke at redmattersite.com. And what we're going to talk about today is Rick Ross's 8th studio album, Black Market. Now, not too long ago, he hit us up with his Black Dollar mixtape, and I already reviewed that one, so you can just check it out on my channel if you want to know my thoughts on that. But for now, we're going to jump right into this one. It all starts off with the song Free Enterprise, where we get some nice piano production and some great vocals from John Legend, who sings about how amazing his life is and how he wouldn't change a thing. As for Rick Ross on the song, he gets introspective as he spits about those broke rappers who are trying to get at him for attention, and he also says that his ego has changed a little bit over the years because he used to look at women as just sex objects, but now that he's older and he's had to cry on the shoulder of a woman before, he sees them as much more than that. He says they're some of the realest people out there. But the one line on here that really stuck out to me is when he said that he would assassinate Donald Trump like George Zimmerman, and you should take that line as if it came from Eminem. Because as we all know, Eminem says all kinds of crazy shit, and he always gets away with it. Well, maybe not always, like there always is a little bit of a backlash, but it's always expected. So when other rappers say some crazy shit, usually they take even more heat because it's not expected. Like when Rick Ross had that line not too long ago where he said something about putting a roofie in a girl's drink or something like that. I forget what it was exactly, but I know you guys remember what I mean. He said some shit and people were going crazy about it like, oh my god, it's horrible, which, you know, you shouldn't really joke about that type of thing, but Eminem has been saying that shit for years, and he said even worse over the past couple of years, but people kind of just gloss over what Eminem says because that's just what he does. And as expected, Rick Ross came with some really dope production on here. The song Silk Road starts off with some raindrops before the hazy production kicks in, and then Rick Ross raps about how he's been successful both in the streets and in business because he's an entrepreneur, but his street credibility always comes under question and under fire, so I don't know. I'm tired of talking about that aspect of Rick Ross because I just want to talk about the music, so whatever. But there are some great beats on here from Jake One, who I think is one of the most underrated producers out. I know I said that in a recent review of mine because he's been making a lot of quality beats. On here, he laced the track Smile Mama Smile, which is obviously a mother appreciation track featuring CeeLo on the hook, and he came through with some great drum work, strings, and twinkling piano keys on the song Dope Dick. And I actually really like this song, just the sound of it, but the hook is a little bit cringeworthy because it's just Rick Ross saying that he's a dope boy with dope cars and dope dicks. So that part was kind of cheesy, but if you can get over that part, this song actually sounds pretty nice. But let me get into two of my favorite tracks on here. One of Us has this triumphant horn production from Calvo the Great, and Rick Ross holds his own, but obviously it's Nas who steals the show on here. He raps a little bit about separating that street shit from the business shit, and I like that line when he says that some people are so ruthless that they'll hit you up in a drive-by from out of an Uber taxi. I just thought this song was all out fire, and I feel the same way about the song Black Opium. This one is really just another braggy, materialistic type of track with some street narrative like you always get from Rick Ross, but it has some nice cuts from DJ Premier, and the production here from Black Metaphor and Incredibeats just absolutely steals the show, and that's kind of how Rick Ross works, you know what I mean? You know what you're going to get as far as his rap style and content because he doesn't really stray out of his lane too much, but he damn sure knows how to pick good beats, and overall I think he sounds alright as far as his vocals and delivery go, but I know some people just hate Rick Ross regardless, so that's a whole other story, but sometimes he makes good songs and I like them, and I think this is one of his best albums in years. But it does still have some of those typical generic tracks that aren't really awe-inspiring. There's the song Dope, which is just a perk and syrup track featuring Future. There's the song Ghostwriter, where Rick Ross is rapping about how he's ghostwritten for other rappers out there, and he does it over this basic-ass horn production that sounds like some Young Jeezy leftovers. And then there's that quintessential Rick Ross banger, Carol City, which really just reminds me a lot of Hold Me Back. It's one of those Rick Ross bangers, like I said, nothing too fancy, but if you're looking for some songs just to blast or thump in your trunk, you might like these three tracks better than me, but these were some of my least favorite tracks on here. And I feel the same way about the song Color Money. This one just had some very outdated sounding production. It sounded like some shit from Cash Money back in 1999, but not one of their hits, one of the random tracks that was just thrown in the middle of one of their albums. And even the lyrics in the second verse, where Ross is supposedly taking shots at Drake, Birdman, and Wayne, they don't really do much to make this song any better, but it did get people talking before he dropped this album. And Rick Ross himself was just kind of being subtle and subliminal with those lines, so I'm not a big fan of that shit, and I don't really get into lines like that too much. Put a name on it if you got a problem with somebody. Don't just say some shit that gets people talking and they think it's about them, and then when you're asked about it, you just say, oh, well, you know, it might be or it might not. Now, Rick Ross also comes through with some R&B rap tracks on here, including the song Can't Say No, which reworks Mariah Carey's classic track Can't Let Go, and the song Very Best with Mary J. Blige, where we get this nostalgic sample-based production. There's also the track Sorry, which is produced by Scott Storch and it features Chris Brown, and on this track Rick Ross and Chris Brown apologize for all their shortcomings and mistakes in relationships, and as we know about Chris Brown, he's got quite a few of those that he's got to apologize for, but I don't really know how much an apology can do when you whoop somebody's ass and leave them looking like a goddamn sack of potatoes that's been punched a million of times. So all three of these rap and R&B tracks are cool for what they are, and I didn't hate them. They're just kind of smooth and mellow, but the song Peace Sign, oh my god, man, that song is so damn cringeworthy. On the hook, Red Cafe says, hey girl, let me tell you about this thing called fucking. And then he says that he's gonna put your legs in the air like a peace sign. The whole thing just sounded really stupid to me. Like, who would say that? Could you imagine walking up to a girl like that? Hey girl, let me tell you about this thing called fucking. I don't think that would go over very well at all. It's kind of creepy, in fact, and a little bit rapey. But at the end of the day, I still think this is one of Rick Ross's best projects to come out in years, so I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Now, if you just don't like Rick Ross at all, you're not a fan of his music, his character, etc., this is not going to change your opinion on him. But if you're like me and you always find a couple of songs that you like on his mixtapes and on his albums, this is definitely worth checking out, and I think you will like some of what he's doing on here, but now I'm just wondering if he's ever going to grow and evolve as an artist. Because he can't do the same shit forever, can he? Doesn't he have to do something different eventually, right? Right? No? Yeah, maybe not. But that's just what I thought about this one. Check it out for yourself and hit me up in the comment section because I want to know what you guys think about it. And as usual, make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff, man. Where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and you especially subscribe to my channel. We're still trying to hit 10K. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.